Now, I'm pleased to introduce Margaret Yankane Mansari as our next speaker. Margaret Yankane Mansari is a promising clean energy innovator from Sierra Leone. With a passion for engineering, she aims to tackle the challenge of inadequate access to affordable and efficient clean cooking energy in her country, Africa. Through her work, Margaret developed an innovative and sustainable cooking solution designed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, prevent health risks, and to bring hope for a healthier and sustainable future. Margaret is going to dive into the intersection between clean energy cooking solutions in Africa and the potential for its implications on the bettering of the climate change crisis. Please join me in welcoming Margaret to the stage. Over to you, Margaret.
Okay, so first of all, this is my first time to be part of this program, and for the first few minutes, it has been really resourceful. I've learned a lot from the lady that was speaking earlier, and looking forward to learn more. My name is Margaret Yinkin Mansari, and I'm from Sierra Leone, and also the founder and CEO of Women in Energy Sierra Leone. Here to learn and to share my knowledge about clean cooking energy in Africa. Okay, so first of all, I would like to share my story because my story is what makes me who I am today and why I'm interested in clean energy. So, so here is a young girl from the city, living in the city, and then all of a sudden I have to switch to the university, being the only female in my class doing energy studies. So it's like transitioning from a city girl to a village girl. And then me going to the village, I think that I thought like life is the same as living in the city, especially in cooking. You can see the constraints except you see people suffering or undergoing these things. Most of them you will think that, oh, this is just a story. I don't believe in this story anymore. We are living in the 21st century. Everyone is advancing, but it doesn't work for everyone in Africa. So that was the day I was going for class, and then I met a young girl at the age of 16 going from the bush fetching firewood. And then she was crying bitterly. And then I asked her, "Why are you crying?" And then she told me she was being raped in the bush. And I'm like, why can a young girl like you go into the bush around this time in the evening? That's around like 3 to 4 in the evening alone for firewood. And then she said, "Oh, I need to cook for my family. I need to provide food before going to sleep." And imagine she has like walked like 3.5 miles. She has walked like 3.5 miles in the from her place to the bush just to fetch that firewood. And at the end of the day, she ended up being raped. So you can see how tragic her story was. I was so annoyed. I couldn't express my how I felt that moment. And eventually the course I was reading was energy study. I didn't know women and girls are most vulnerable when it comes to this energy poverty. So then I started to ask myself question: are you the only girl that have been a victim of this rape issue from cooking or from fetching firewood? And she said no, she have some of her colleagues that have been pregnant due to these issues, and some of them are forced to early marriage, and there's a lot of problem on and on and on. So I decided to do research about clean cooking solutions in Africa, and then I find out that 2.3 billion people don't have access to clean cooking solutions. So out of that 2.3 billion people, there are 3.7 million people that die prematurely yearly all around Africa. And so you can see it's real, but except if you live in Africa, if you live in those remote areas, then you will actually feel the problem. So I felt connected to that problem instantly, and I was like, what can I do to help reduce this problem? What can I do to help save more premature death, especially for pregnant women? Imagine pregnant women inhaling like 4 packets of cigarettes every day. That's the thing again. In Africa, like smoking is not a choice. Unlike living in the urban or in the city or living outside Africa, smoking is not a choice for us. Like we have to like inhale this each and every day. like it's a daily responsibility because we see it as a culture. Women and young girls are supposed to be in the kitchen. We're supposed to prepare food for a family or for the husband. So you can imagine. And then I'm like, what can I do to reduce this, to save more children? What can I do to reduce the time poverty we have in Sierra Leone? What can I do to help reduce this household air pollution, because household air pollution has been causing a major effect in Sierra Leone. If you go to the hospital, you will see cancer, lungs diseases, and so on. You will see women going through operation for their eyesight. Especially some of my customers, I have some feedbacks from them. They are going through operation because of the smoke going through their eyes. They have some cataract or something that leads to the eyesight operation. So you can see that they're the most vulnerable to this problem, and yet still we seems to be so comfortable about it. Everyone is focused on malaria. Everyone is focused on different things, but yet there are still millions of people dying out there. And going furthermore, the reason why I think there is no like solution, or people are not focusing, or they don't see it as a problem, because first thing, they lack the idea of having access to clean cooking energy, or having access to clean energy. Like in Sierra Leone, where I come from, like 99% of our population don't have access to clean cooking energy at all. And out of that 99%, 80% of that 99% don't have any idea, are energy illiterate, don't have any idea about what what can we do, or what is energy, or what is the difference between, how can we reduce this carbon emissions. So you can see that there was a lot of work to be done. You have to like change their mindset. You have to like raise awareness, educate them, have a lot of community engagement for them to learn something that they have never learned before, because all their life they have been depending on firewood. They have been depending on going to fetch firewood and cook their meals. So for you to transition them from that firewood and telling them that, oh, you need to switch to clean energy because this is what that will save your life and reduce your time poverty for your family, that wasn't an easy task for me. So I went on and did a lot of research about how can we change the people mindset. So I started engaging in community engagement, asking more of women, like, what's your experience, what do you think can be done to reduce this problem, because the fact remains that they know the problems, they know what they are going through, but they don't know how to solve this problem. They can tell you, oh, I've been cooking on firewood for the past 30 years now, and I'm having eyesight issues, and I'm coughing a lot, or my children have had premature death. So you can hear a lot of stories, but what can they do? How can they adapt? There are a lot of solutions out there, especially now in Africa. There are a lot of solutions out there, but the problem is there is no like immediate solutions, because solution can only be used in Africa in urban cities. But when you leave the city, when you go outside the city, when you go to those remote villages, you will see that the solutions are not even there. There's no like immediate solution that they can have access to. There is no like solutions that can they can adapt to easily, and there is no like solutions that they can afford. Never mind, some rural areas they have some of this LPG gas, but the problem was they can't afford it. So I went into more deeper research, and then I try to engage them more furthermore. So you will see, you will listen, you hear a lot of stories from them, and I went back to my university, and then I started thinking like, what can I do? What solution that really makes sense? That will make sense to those people. That can be accessible. That can be easily affordable. That can be um that's one to go problem, like immediate solution. So instead of you finding money to prepare yourself to use an LPG or electricity, first of all, if 99% of our population don't have access to clean cooking energy, 99% as well don't have access to electricity. So for using an electric cooker, that was like a no-go area because they don't even have access to it for even charging their phones or so. Electricity is very expensive in Africa, talk less of being accessible. So how can they even think about even using electric cooker? And another thing is affordability for the LPG gas. We have this LPG gas that is in the city that most people in the city are using, but how can they afford this LPG gas? And these are people that are living barely like $1 a day. That's like 5,000 leons a day. So you can imagine the situation that they are going through. So it wasn't an easy task. So I kept doing more and more research, and I decided to take it as a responsibility to be part of my dissertation, which makes it more interesting for me because it was part of my dissertation. And as I go forward, I'm like, you know what? I need to find a company where we can have like women in energy. We create a safer space for young girls and women where they can come up with some of those problems and teach them skills that they themselves can learn to provide for themselves their problems or bring solutions to their problems they are facing, and also bring them on board, teach them a lot about energy management, how they can manage their energy, and what they can do to utilize this energy and be more energy literate. So that was why Women in Energy was found, and also give them easy access to clean, reliable energy apart from the clean cooking energy. So at first, it wasn't an easy task, me starting the Women in Energy, but since it's also part of my dissertation topic, um, it was like for me, it was like it's either I do this or I don't, and I'm gonna do this with all I have. And then I started to do more of women engagement, and they started to see reason. We started to do more of capacity building to focus more on improved cooking stove because I had to work with the GTI lab where we have the stove testing. They can test the stove carbon emissions, its efficiency, and then how durable and safe it is for women and young girls to cook. Even if you have children around, it's totally safe and reliable. So it was like me building a prototype of, again, the idea was having a prototype, but then again, a prototype, if you're building a product, then it has to be accessible. I don't need to import some of these products to come and build. Then if I need to import it, then it will be more expensive for the people to use, and also it won't be affordable. And also how can the last mile reach out to the products we have. So then I and my team, we started to think about an accessible product like the ceramic we are having, the insulator from coconut fiber, and using the waste materials as well to convert to efficient improved cook stove. So the first prototype was like we designed like 20 of those products and decided to give out to communities where in my university in the village and get more feedbacks from them, like more experience, like how does it feel like transitioning from using firewood to using an improved cook stove, because when you're using an improved cook stove then you can use again agricultural waste, which majority of the women are doing in Africa. It's like they are mostly engaged in agricultural products. So if they can transform that waste they have for, to reduce them from going to the bush, cut down trees, like deforestation, and then coming home to cook their meals. If they have their agricultural waste, then they can easily convert it together with the efficient stove to cook their meals. So it's like they were amazed by the product, and they were amazed by the fuel they are using as well, because compared to the fuel that they were using to the firewood, the time, and then it's not efficient, and then it takes over 3 hours to cook your meal. So by the time the children eat their meal, it's like in the evening, night hours. That's the time they had their lunch. So it was very interesting for them, and and then me and my team decided to have more products of this efficient stove, and then the briquette as well. But some of our challenges was we couldn't reach out to more communities, more rural areas because of we were a startup, and then we were also a student back then. So what we did, we decided to like, why not have some of these women to actually learn how to produce this product. Instead of us not reaching out to their product, they can actually know how to produce this their product, and then they can be the one to transport this product and make it more accessible for their neighboring communities. So we selected few, and so far we've trained over 50 youth that can actually design their own improved cook stove, and they can actually design and produce their own briquettes from the agricultural waste as well. And for 2020 to now, I can probably say me and my team, we've reached out to 1,500 households, and we are determined to reach out to more households because for us, achieving sustainable development goal 7, which is access to affordable energy, and then um, achieving giving easy access to clean cooking energy is our goals, because we want to save more women and young girls out there. We want to save children life. We want them to um, use their time to reduce their time poverty, to learn more skills, to reduce the energy literate in Sierra Leone. In Africa, we are looking forward to expand to different parts of Africa, and not just Sierra Leone, but for now we've reached like over 30% of our goals, and we're open to collaboration to reach out to more people in Sierra Leone and Africa.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for that insightful presentation, which has massive applications to aid with solving the climate change crisis, as well as accelerating our global transition to clean energy. You can find Margaret at Margaret Yankai1 on Twitter if you want to connect with her.